Hello everyone, I'm Renown Zero. We are back again talking about how PlayStation 5s are now getting a price hike in America. This has been predicted by other content creators like Oh No It's Alex, and it's absolutely hilarious how these Nintendo fanboys are out here thinking that no one's going to call out this nonsense when it comes to PlayStation doing it, similar to how people have called out Microsoft doing it as well as Nintendo doing it. It's absolutely crazy how that makes any sort of sense when people think that everyone is a bootlicker like they are, but it's absolutely hilarious watching them do these things where they think it's all tariffs and inflation when it couldn't be the farthest thing from the truth, considering that tariffs put on other countries from the US haven't affected those other countries that Sony and PlayStation have increased the price of PlayStations in. But it's right here going up $50 from all SKUs, the PS5, the PS5 Digital, and the PS5 Pro. The biggest scam on planet Earth being the PlayStation 5 Pro. And just as a reminder, I'll just let everyone know now, yes, the ROG Xbox Ally X at $900 is also too much money. It's too expensive for what it offers. But let's go over to the PlayStation blog and read this right here. PlayStation 5 price increases or price changes in the US. Similar to many global businesses, we continue to navigate a challenging economic environment. As a result, we've made the difficult decision to increase the recommended retail price for PlayStation 5 consoles in the US starting on August 21st. The updated recommended retail price, not MSRP is what that is, for PlayStation 5 consoles in the US are as follows. The PlayStation 5 at $550, the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition at $500, and the PlayStation 5 Pro at $750, which is crazy to me because as generations go further in, you typically see price drops, not price increases, especially when you have hardware in these systems that are old as sin at this point. The recommended retail prices for PlayStation 5 accessories remains unchanged, and we have no other price changes to announce for additional markets, even though they've already increased the price of these consoles in other markets outside of the US. So claiming that it's the tariffs when our tariffs on other countries don't affect those other countries having price increases is why this makes absolutely no sense, why you would blame tariffs for the price increases. But known fanboys, Nintendo fanboys that is, like this guy, saying, but it's only bad that Nintendo does it, right? No, it's bad when all the companies do it. When Microsoft does it, it's bad. When Nintendo does it, it's bad. Just like Nintendo increased the price of the original Nintendo Switch, the Switch Lite, and the Switch OLED, it was bad. When Microsoft increased the price of the Series X and the Series S, it was bad. And now that PlayStation is doing it, it's also bad because it's bad for the consumer, especially when you're raising the price on 5-year-old hardware for Microsoft Xbox and Sony PlayStation respectively, and 7-year-old hardware for the Nintendo Switch and Switch Lite. You would think the cost of all of these systems would go down, especially with the Switch 2 out, for Nintendo at the very least. You would think the Switch 1 consoles or family of consoles would go down in price, not up in price. Then you have people like Nintendo, one of the biggest cucks I've ever seen in my life. Sony is raising PS5 prices in the US. I mean, they've raised the price of the PlayStation 5 in other countries already. You would expect that it would also happen in America as well. Is PlayStation anti-consumer now? Yes. They're pricing out people out of the console market at this point. People should just build a PC. You could build a competent PC that'll outperform every single console, even now, at $750. Are they raising prices because they can get away with it? Yes. Considering that dummies continue to buy PlayStation 5s and you have 80 million sold, even as the sales go up for the PlayStation 5 and you're at 80 million consoles sold, they're still raising the price on the console even though they continue to sell more consoles. Are they raising the prices because they're greedy? 100%. All companies want the line to continue to go up. They want to keep making all of the money. This goes for every corporation. Or does that only apply to Nintendo from asinine idiots on the internet? No, it applies to all corporations. They always want to make as much money as possible. It's why they try to increase the price of video games. You know, Microsoft tried to increase the price of their games to $80, and that completely backfired on them that they had to go back to $70. They should honestly go back to $60 or $50, similar to how they released Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, which was a great game, for $50. I even said it. They are anti-consumer. They are raising prices. They are greedy. Nintendo's greedy and raised the price of their games to $80. Mario Kart World isn't worth $80. And for the people that want to gaslight in the comments, the one person that wants to gaslight in the comments, claiming Mario Kart World is the only $80 game, no. Tears of the Kingdom, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, I said Civ 7, but I was wrong on that one. Super Mario Party Jamboree are all $80 games on Switch 2. If you want the Switch 2 edition of these games, you are paying $80 regardless. You may be able to play them backwards compatible, but if you want the upgraded version, you are going to end up spending $20 extra for Kirby and Super Mario Party Jamboree, and $10 for Tears of the Kingdom, which makes all three of those games $80 for the Switch 2. So at the end of the day, it isn't just Mario Kart World that's $80. There are other first-party Nintendo games that are also $80 on the Switch too. But I 100% agree with even RGT85 saying back in my day the price of video game systems went down. And who had something to say about that? Oh, good old OJ, that the same guy that didn't know how to run Power properly on a Steam Deck, and that's why he sold his Steam Deck. He thought he was gonna make content with it, and then didn't know how to properly use it, and got exposed live by Oh No, it's Alex, and it was absolutely hilarious to watch it all happen. Saying, if tariffs and inflation weren't out of control, like I said many times, this wouldn't be happening. Again, you clearly don't know how tariffs work when they do not affect other countries that are not the U.S. The price increase was going to happen regardless, because if it increased in other countries, it would happen the same way in the U.S., just like it happened with Microsoft Xbox, and now it's going to happen with Sony's PlayStation. So, what are we talking about? Again, Nintendo did the same thing with their Switch 1 family of consoles, where they increased the price. That they increased the price, I'm sure, in other places as well. So again, if PlayStation was going to raise the price of the consoles in other places, and our tariffs on other countries don't affect those other countries, did you think it wasn't going to happen over here as well? So if it was the tariffs, then explain how it works with the other countries if they're not being greedy. That's not how that works, bro. That's 100% not how that works. Because it went up in other places first. It was going to happen in the US as well. I think it's silly that people always want to make it political when it has nothing to do with politics. It has to do with the fact that companies are consistently greedy, as they always are. They were just simply waiting for other companies to do it first. It's always about one company waiting for the other company to raise the price first. Just like Microsoft saw Nintendo raise their game prices to $80 with Mario Kart, and immediately they thought their games were worth $80, and they are not. Definitely not a new Call of Duty, and definitely not Outer Worlds 2. That's why they had to backtrack on the price so quickly that people had to get refunds, because there were actually people dumb enough to pre-order, first thing. Secondly, pre-order an $80 game on top of all of that. So, no, it's not tariffs whatsoever. Stop the cap. Stop doing this nonsense when you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. But I just want to put this video out there for informative purposes. I appreciate you all for being here. Appreciate you all for watching the video. Like, share, comment below if you feel about this. Subscribe for more content. Hit the bell for notifications. Set the bell to all, that way you get a notification anytime I post a new video or go live on the channel. And I'll see you guys on the next one.